Hi Katrina, Sriram sir, Vijay sir, thank you so much for joining me on Humans of Cinema. It's a big pleasure and I couldn't be more thrilled. I have been waiting for this film for such a long time. In fact, when just the poster itself came out, I started like analyzing it and started writing like big essays about it. Which is now a little embarrassing in retrospect because then the trailer came out and a lot of things were wrong. but I'm so glad to be sitting here with you guys. Thank you so much. First of all, welcome to Delhi.
Now, after the trailer came, what do you think?
I really feel like your character is not a real person. I feel like, but that would be too predictable from a Sriram Raghavan film. But it still feels like your character is somebody that is just in his head, or maybe you're a ghost. I mean, I could be wrong.
I love these speculations.
But is this like a common interpretation that people have? This one?
Yeah, because after the trailer came out, I used to read some comments, and a lot of people have different sort of thoughts and possible, is this the story, that's the story kind of a thing. And it's good for us because it makes it makes you sort of more curious. Okay,
yeah.
If you watch the film, so far we are okay.
I think also
and we hope to surprise you.
100%. I think one of the most interesting things that you have done, which nobody, I don't think it has been done before, that you have almost the two trailers that have come out in the two languages. They almost seem like two different films. In terms of course, a lot of things are similar, but you still take away very different emotions from the two. So where did that come for you?
Because actually, I mean, the initial idea was because it's a Hindi film and a Tamil film, so there are two different DCPs. So I thought, let me have, so it doesn't look like a dubbed film, you know? So I thought, let me have a different person designing the posters for Tamil, a different person doing it for Hindi. Likewise with the trailers and so on. But at the same time, both of them, when you watch the film, both the trailers are true to the film once you see the film. You know?
Okay. I read that you've written that like 95% of the film is similar, but you still have made some changes to it.
No, the changes are largely because of the idiom of Tamil is different, and there are a few things you can't do. I mean, exactly like in Hindi, then was the point. It might as well be dubbed. And we also had different actors doing it. So we've also changed genders. For example, there's a cop in the Hindi version played by Vinay Pathak, who's played by Radhika Sarath Kumar in the Tamil version. So all these things will automatically create a certain, a different kind of facet to the thing.
Okay. Katrina, if I can just ask you, what drew you towards the film?
I wanted to do a film with Sriram sir. I loved his movies. I've seen all of his films and I love the world of his films. I love the madness. I love the unpredictability. I love the characters that he writes. Things in a very unusual way, which I really enjoy and I find fascinating. And it was since a long time that we had, a few years that I'd been in conversation with him and, sir, if there's something that comes to your mind, I would really love to work with you. And one day, he told me this kind of idea of this film and I just thought it was such an incredible fit, but yet had all the things that I was looking for
in a Sriram
Raghavan film for me to be a part of. Like everything, it had all the material that I was looking for. I find the story of this film incredibly beautiful, incredibly unique. And it's a different rhythm, the film, when you see it. It's a different rhythm. It's got a different sur to the film. It's got a different, almost like a language. The language of the storytelling is different. And I found it like, when I saw the finished product, the first thing that I said was, I mean, this is a film that I would always be really proud of.
Wow. If I can just ask you about your favorite Sriram Raghavan film, do you have one?
Yes. I think I'm going to be a little bit of a cliche here, but I'm going to say Andhadhun. Just because, I mean, every time we talk about the film, I always tell him the same thing. I'm like, he's playing the piano and pretending not to see a dead body being carried out. Like, I was hysterical. I was hysterical. I rewinded that scene later when I was watching it. I was actually during a break between our schedules. I watched the whole film again. Wow. Like, I think we had like a 2-3 day turnaround break on Merry Christmas, and I watched it for like, I think the 3rd or 4th time. And I was rewinding that scene. I was like, this is just hysterical. I mean, I couldn't conceptualize. And the way that some of Tabu's scenes were just out of this world, this whole knuckly act she was doing.
Yeah.
And I think it was just a brilliant film.
So do you have a favorite Sriram Raghavan film?
Yeah, I like Ek Hasinati and then Badlapur. Yeah, of course Andhadhun. But if you ask me, I like Badlapur very much.
Yeah.
I like the way it was written and executed. And I was expecting somebody will remake the film in Tamil, then I won't ask for a chance. That was it was well played by him.
Yeah. Can I ask you what drew you towards the film?
Yeah, Sriram Raghavan, that's yeah, I met him in Melbourne and I know him, but earlier I said Badlapur, no? So I thought one day I want to work with him.
Wow.
So it happened, one day he sent me a video message, there was a, whenever you're free, you call me that we can have, I want to tell you a story. ऐसे करके एक video message आया था. Then I was so excited and then
Yeah.
He told me about 15-20 minutes, maybe just a line. I was very happy then.
Sir, I was watching an interview of yours where you said something very interesting about Saif Ali Khan's character in Ek Hasina Thi. You said that the idea was very interesting to you that this was a character that uses charm as a weapon. And I feel like that is something that you can see in almost all of your films, like almost every film that you've made, like there is at least one character that uses charm as a weapon. Is that was that in any way something that you were drawn to as well in your character? And, I mean, at least from the trailer, it does seem like she's somebody who's trying to charm him, or who's trying to seduce him also in a way. But at the same time, of course, I'm sure that there are some intentions behind it.
No, I never made that connection until now. Now that you say it, I think that now I can. I think it's not. I don't know. Maybe he would be better to answer, but I don't think it's intentional, right?
I mean, the story is such that they both have reasons to meet each other, and is she trying to charm him, and is he trying to also simultaneously charm her, or is he falling in love with her? All that you have to watch.
It's never very straightforward, and I think one thing about Sriram sir is that his answers also are not very straightforward. So does she think this? Well, maybe she does, but then maybe she doesn't, and perhaps this is also going on, and perhaps that's. So I think his films depict the complexities of human emotions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how complex are we just as people?
Yeah,
you can be happy one minute, you can be sad the next, you can be scared the next, you can be angry the next. It's I think sometimes we simplify things in films.
That's true.
And I think I really like that in the way his not just writing but the execution of the scenes. He lets all those layers and those gray areas and ambiguities be.
Sir, I mean, if I can just ask you the same thing again, like, is that an idea that you yourself find attracted to again and again? Just the idea of, because even in that interview you had spoken about a lot of like serial killers and how a lot of them used to be like Ted Bundy and all of these serial killers, how they used to be like extremely handsome men.
Right.
So,
well, see, this film is actually, it's like it's called Merry Christmas, and it's set during Christmas. Christmas Eve starts and Christmas Eve and gets over in the next, on Christmas Day. It's like this kind of story would not happen in real life, It is a story. It's like a fairy tale. But if you see, most of the fairy tales are actually quite dark, and they are actually metaphors for something that the fairy tales come out of something which is like, a dark thing, like fairy tales and nursery rhymes. All these have a dark side to it, but because it's going to go to children, and in fact, kids are also quite dark in their own devious little manner, It's actually quite nasty. So this film is like that, It's like I just call it a fairy tale, which is a dark fairy tale.
okay. Sir, I mean, you have done at least, Super Deluxe, at least one film that I can think of where it was a film that was almost happening within a day. This is also another film. What do you think that just in general, compared to a film that is, happening over a period of years or months, etc., versus a film like this, do you see any difference in the way that you have to approach your role, or in the way that things are on set or things feel on set?
No, maybe that only one costume used throughout the film generally.
Sorry?
There was only one costume used throughout the film if it is
Yeah.
happening in one night. Of course, we have 2-3 costume setup also this film. But see, whether it's a film is happening in 2 hours or 200 years, whatever it may be, we may focus in one point that we want to tell that story, that moral or that story, that mood is there, for which they select actors, set lightings, they have music and everything. So only that mood. So generally, how to say, in real life we may be a different person for different peoples. Okay, like at home we may be different, and then with friends, and then when we are work, So for what kind of story and what is that moral, what is that essence we want to connect to the audience, we are working for that only. That's the mood of the film. So it can happen in 2 hours also. That's not a problem.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first film that is from beginning to end like a period film or set in the past that you, I mean, out of the films that you've made, right?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Badlapur, I mean, there were scenes that were happening in the past.
Yeah.
If you have to just speak a little bit about how that process was different for you, creating like a period film, so to say.
Well, period is like, there's a period when I was growing up kind of thing. It was the 80s, you know. And I just wanted the story to be from that period because there's a certain innocence in that period. And the moment I said it in today's time, everything, all the reality of comes into the picture, you know, the story. So I have to deal with those things. So I thought, I mean, in fact, many stories get ruined because of cell phones and availability of cell phones and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So one of my reasons for doing it was to capture that, you know, Bombay of a different time, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think it's particularly challenging to do a period film like that. This is not like there's elaborate sets or anything. We had to use existing locations and make them I mean, we found beautiful locations in Bombay and South Bombay, which are, the tough part was to remove the cars from the road. So that was really the hard part. Otherwise, yeah. I chose period because of 2 reasons. One is what I was telling you about the modernity, and secondly, kind of a hard realism creeps in whether you like it or not, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that.
And was it a little more joyful for you to kind of go back in time like that and to kind of create your own world which replicated the time that you grew up in?
Sort of, yeah. Though, I mean, we have a movie hall and things, you know, now, I mean, we have tickets, physical tickets, you know, in the movie and things like that, which many of you all may not have encountered, you know.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a different time when we grew up. I mean, there used to be long lines outside cinema halls. Now all that is gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now you can just book your ticket. You know, if this is full, the next show is going to be there.
Yeah. Sir, okay. So, because at Humans of Cinema, the whole idea is that we talk about the impact of films on our lives. So, I mean, I'm sure that there are tons and tons of films like that for you. You've also spoken about a lot of them in the past. But if I had to just ask you, going back in time, if you can think of, you know, one film or a couple of films that left such a deep influence on your life, that, you know, it almost, you can remember in your head or in your heart that was a moment when you knew that you fell in love with the films.
Well, there will be many films of that. Yesterday I was talking about, it's not just one film, it will be many, and there will be like maybe a couple of shots from certain films and so on. So, I mean, I don't know when I wanted to become a filmmaker and when did I even understand what directing a film meant. But loving a film is everybody's, I mean, we all used to, I mean, I was like probably not very good at too many other things in school and all that. So this was a good escape for me. And so I don't know, I forgot your question.
I mean, just, you know, like one film or a couple of films. You've spoken about North by Northwest, that you saw it as a kid, I think.
Right. I've seen many of the Hitchcocks as a kid, and even though you don't get the complete film or the complete story or the nuances, so many images stay in your mind, you know. So, and then a film like Shawshank Redemption or Groundhog Day. I mean, these films also, there's a certain spirituality in those films, you know, which really seeps into you. Whether, if you like such a film, I mean, there will be people who just can watch these films cold and say, okay, it didn't do anything to me. But for me, those films have done something. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen Bicycle Thieves and all that, but you see Bicycle Thieves at a certain age, it makes you want to be an honest person, you know?
Yeah.
It just makes you want to be. So.
And Vijay sir, do you have, I mean, when you think back, when you were growing up, first of all, were you a filmy kid when you were growing up, in terms of were you somebody who used to be watching films all the time?
No?
No?
Actually, I remember only after I tried for cinema when I started my career. Then I went to Chennai. There was a film festival. I saw one Kazakhstan film. It was called Tulpan. I don't know, that the story is happening in a very dry place, but it was wonderful. The direction and then, the story and everything was. I discussed so much about that with the assistant directors who all watched with me to understand that film. So I loved that film. And then there are a lot of old Tamil movies which I loved it. After I tried for cinema, so I wanted to understand what is this. I don't know how to understand the cinema. So to understand, to discuss with them, and then about story and plots, and then actors. Still, I love that black and white time films and actors. I love that work. It was, I don't know, still it feels, a lot of it surprises me so much. There is a film called Shivaji Ganesan's film is there. It's called Rajapat Rangotra. He's a theatre actor in that film. So for every mood, there is a two scene in a film. So if he is dull in the real life, there is a dull scene in the theatre stage. So there is only one scene where he is very sad and then his get-up is buffoon. So he has to make audience laugh, but he has to cry in the song. So that was an excellent performance. So I watched that film. I watched that film in childhood also, but I don't know whether the film is good or bad. Then when I was trying for film, when I watched this film, I saw it 2-3 times. Then I was surprised by the way it was written and executed. It was surprised me so much. There are so many films. Yeah. There is one film called Ayirathil Oruvan, which is a MGR film, and then that every 20 minutes there is a climax. It's 20 minutes there is a climax. So there are a lot of films which surprised me, and the way it was executed was so nice. So there is not only then somebody wrote about a film called Life is Beautiful. There is one film. He was writing in there is a magazine. So every week he write about one world cinema. So first time I read about that cinema, then I went and I got that CD and I watched that film 3-4 times, and then I loved that film. So so not one or two, it's so many.
Thank you so much for sharing, sir. Katrina, if having worked in the industry for such a long time, having worked as an actor for such a long time, how has your relationship with cinema changed? And are you still able to find time to, watch films? And is it something that you are able to make time for now as an actor?
Yeah, I think it just depends. Like if you're in the middle of filming a particular project, then you're kind of in a bubble. Then I kind of shut off. I don't watch anything. I probably don't do much at all except kind of stay in that bubble of the film. But in between, when you're not on a film set or you're in between schedules, I definitely make time to watch films and watch content, watch what's being made out there. I think that's incredibly important to understand the audience, to understand yourself. We all evolve as people, right? So the same person, the person I am today is not the person I was 20 years ago or 14 years ago or 17 years ago. When I've been acting in the film industry, you keep changing, and that means what you're going to connect to as an artist is also going to change. And the type of roles you're going to want to do is also going to change. The type of cinema you want to be a part of is going to change, because I think as an actor, I came in with a lot of dreams and a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I feel I've been fortunate enough to have done a lot of those things. Now I have to see what are the new dreams. What are the new things that that I can show myself, or that I can express myself as an artist, as an actor. And I think that's kind of the space I'm in now. But watching films and the impact films can have, and it just reminds you that this is why we're here. This is why we're all so passionate about making films. I think recently there was a film, I don't know if any of you saw it, called Nayad. Did you see a film called Nayad? It's with Annette Bening.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
So she's playing it's a true story. It's about a woman who was a swimmer, a long distance swimmer. So they swim for like 65 hours without getting out of the water, like 75 hours. And she had this dream, and she wanted to swim across. It was going to take her 72 hours to swim from America to Cuba, from the shore of America to Cuba, going through the ocean. She tried it when she was in her late 20s, when you're physically at your fittest. She couldn't do it because of some obstacle came in her way. Years later, she's 65. She decides, I'm going to do it. Everyone says, you're crazy. Wow. You're out of your mind. I mean, you're just an insane person. Her friends, her family, everyone was, deserting her. And just the passion with which Annette Bening she actually depicted those scenes of this person who really does exist and is still alive today. And she was like, this is my dream. You cannot question it. And I'm going to do anything. I don't care if I die trying, but I will do this. Wow. And she literally almost dies twice. And she keeps at it. And she does it one time. I find stories like that, like the triumph of the human spirit, perseverance. Yeah. To me, that really does something to me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, I felt very similar when I saw 12th Fail recently. It just made me cry profusely after such a long time.
That's a very another example of triumph.
Yeah. Sir, okay, we are short on time, so this is just the second last question, all right. For you now, again, having worked as a filmmaker for such a long time, having been to film school, and I know that before that you used to write about films as well for a couple of magazines, which was very interesting for me to see. Today, what do you feel personally is the purpose of cinema?
For myself, for me,
For yourself.
for myself, it has to be something which has to do. It cannot be just a film. I mean, there has to be something more than that. If I take even a film like Merry Christmas, I mean, I feel it's a kind of story which normally maybe people would not say, or they would say it very differently. I mean, the same story. If I had to write CID earlier, a long time back. The TV series. So the same story can be done like a CID also, but that is not the story I would like to do. You know what I mean? So often people tell me, okay, make this, remake this film. And I feel there has to be an adventure in the film. I'm not saying necessarily any message or anything like that. There has to be an adventure in terms of, for me, while making it, and for the viewer, hopefully get something which is not what they usually anyway get, So I need some sort of a extra, some X in the subject or in the subject actually, which will make me want to spend a year doing it. Otherwise, it's like just a job, so it becomes damn tough to do that.
So anything that you would like to add to that?
It's like we're just telling a story, and then it's an audience point of view. So every story there is a moral is there. Every story it tells something. It may be about a men and women relationship, or maybe about good and bad, or anything. Maybe a wrong decision or a good decision, meeting good people or bad people. But we should let us not. Sometimes I feel like let's not say everything in the film or by word. Let the audience take it on their own way. But every film does that. When you watch the film now Katrina said, no, there is a woman who wanted to swim very long. So her perception is that way. If somebody sees it, they will take it another way. So it is there how they want to see and what they want to take. It's an audience take. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Like Kundan Shah, I used to know him. So he used to always, I'll narrate a story to him, he'll say, okay, I mean, this is like, I remember narrating Johnny Gadda to him the first time, and he said, he didn't like it at all. The story, the script, whatever I had got. He just said, this is a plot, and the plot has no life, whereas life has no plot. So it is like that, So when he said that, it struck me. Initially I was like, what the hell, he's not liking the story. And then I went back and I rewrote it and sort of made it more, life than plot kind of thing. Though it's again, it's not a real story. These things don't happen in real life, So then he used to say one more thing, okay, the grammar is there, but where's the poetry? It's like that. So finally you have to find some poetry in the work you do, for yourself.
Okay, just one last question for everyone here. This is the question that I always end with. It's slightly loaded compared to the rest of the conversation. But what does happiness mean to you?
Wow.
Ekdam change. But just again, this is something that I ask out of curiosity, because I'm still a young guy, kind of trying to learn things from people who have had experiences.
So I'm going to slightly deviate on the answer, but I think you'll get the point. One thing that I've learned is that happiness, whatever it is, whatever it means to you, you will realize that it comes from within you. You can get a lot of joy from a person around you, from people around you, from your work, from outside. But that actual happiness you're talking about, that comes from a state of mind within you. Yeah. That peace of mind about yourself, about your life, that self-acceptance, that liking yourself, that being at peace with yourself, that is actually happiness. Yeah. You can never think that I'm unhappy because he or she is not doing this, or because I don't have this or that. Even if you have he or she or this or that, if your internal state of mind is not, if there's not an equilibrium, you won't find that happiness that you're searching for.
Oh, that's very well said. Yeah.
Happiness would be a combination of peace of mind and external circumstances that give you joy.
Sir?
For me, it's actually the way very small things can make me happy. So it doesn't need to be something big, If this movie becomes a smash hit, I'll be happy, of course, but that's not the point. I mean, I have a...
So I'll be very, very happy.
Of course. I'm saying something, that's one happiness for sure. That's one happiness for sure, but I'm saying Sometimes I have this one plant which never gives flowers. One day suddenly it will give. So I'll be very happy with that. So
In the little things.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Sir, what about you?
For me also, like Sriram sir said, or like Katrina said, it's very short distance. Happiness is very short distance, and then suppose I want to buy a car, or I want to eat a food, or I want to buy a dress. That small things. That's all.
Yeah.
And that bigger, not my happiness is never depend on bigger things. So I don't even plan my life or anything. So it's very small. Suppose अगर अभी छोड़ेगा तो अच्छा है. Kush, but it's I don't plan it. I'm just small things. That's all.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I go to airport, I buy toys there to play. I play in cars and all. Remote cars I like. Sometimes I play with bubble guns. I enjoy small things. Kuch bhi.
Okay, chalo, on that note, this was the cast and the director of the upcoming film Merry Christmas, a film that all of us are extremely excited about. Thank you so much, Katrina, Sriram sir, Vijay sir, for joining me. It's a huge pleasure. I can't wait to watch the film. And
Hope you like the film.
yeah, I'm
Look
sure
forward
that I will.
to hearing your review.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.